Have you ever stopped to wonder why so much of your suffering feels strangely familiar? As if you keep running into the same kind of pain, the same kind of drama, the same kind of mistakes, again and again? It's almost as if life is on a loop, replaying the same situations until you finally get the message. This is exactly what Sadguru warns about. He says that if you don't wake up to what you are doing unconsciously, you will keep recreating the same misery, the same patterns, over and over, until it breaks you. And this isn't a threat, it's a compassionate warning. Life is simply reflecting what you are putting into it. The first thing Sadguru asks us to stop is living mechanically, as if we're on autopilot. Think about your day. The moment you wake up, your mind is already running. The same thoughts as yesterday, the same worries, the same grudges, the same stress. You get ready, go to work, scroll through the same social media feeds, talk about the same problems with the same people, and go to sleep hoping tomorrow will feel different. But tomorrow arrives, and it's just another copy of yesterday. If you live like this, Sadguru says, you are not living at all, you are simply repeating. And repetition without awareness is the root of human suffering. When he says stop doing this, he means stop living unconsciously. Stop allowing your compulsions to run the show. Compulsions are those invisible forces that make you act, speak, and think in ways you know don't serve you, but you do them anyway. How many times have you promised yourself you wouldn't lose your temper, but then someone says something and your anger takes over? Or you decide to stop gossiping, stop overeating, stop procrastinating, but a few hours later you're back at it. This is not because you are weak. It is because your life energy has become compulsive. It's not in your hands. Sadguru explains that human suffering has four main doors: the body, the mind, the emotions, and external situations. If you let any one of these run wild, pain becomes unavoidable. Your body can suffer if you treat it carelessly, your mind can torture you if you don't learn to use it consciously, your emotions can drown you if you let them run unchecked, and the outside world can crush you if you hand it all your power. The warning is clear: stop giving these four dimensions control over your life. Let's start with the body. Most people only pay attention to their body when it's already screaming for help, when they are sick, in pain, or exhausted. Sadguru says this is backwards. Your body is not a burden, it is the very vehicle through which you experience life. If you keep abusing it with unhealthy food, no movement, little sleep, and endless stress, suffering is guaranteed. But if you treat the body as a temple, keep it light, flexible, and energized, it becomes a doorway to joy. He often says, if you sit here with your body at ease, with your mind at peace, then everything outside will feel beautiful. Then comes the mind, the biggest source of suffering for most of us. You might think your job, your relationships, or your finances are the cause of your pain, but if you look closely, most of the time it's your thoughts that are making you miserable. You replay hurtful memories, you imagine worst-case scenarios, you worry about what might happen tomorrow. Sadguru calls this self-inflicted torture. Your mind is meant to be a tool, but right now, it's running you instead of you running it. He warns that if you don't stop this constant mental chatter, you will live and die without ever knowing peace. He gives a simple but powerful solution: create a little space between you and your thoughts. The moment you realize, this is my mind producing a thought, and I don't have to follow it, you take back control. Instead of compulsively reacting, you respond consciously. Instead of being dragged into drama, you can choose your inner state. This is freedom, and it is available to you right now, not tomorrow, not after years of meditation, right now, if you become aware. The next door of suffering is emotion. If your emotions are pleasant, life feels beautiful. If they are unpleasant, life feels like a punishment. Most people believe they have no control over how they feel. She made me angry, he broke my heart, they made me feel worthless. But Sadguru reminds us that no one has access to your inner chemistry unless you hand them the keys. Every emotion you experience is generated from within you. This means you can learn to generate joy, love, and peace without waiting for anyone or anything to change outside. The warning is this: if you don't master your emotions, they will master you. And an unmastered emotional life can turn even the most blessed situation into misery. And finally, external situations, the world outside you. Most people spend their entire life trying to fix the outside world so they can finally feel okay on the inside. But the outside world will never be 100% in your control. People will still say things you don't like, circumstances will still change, plans will still fail. If your well-being depends on controlling the outside, you will always live in fear. Sadhguru's advice is radical but liberating. Shift your focus from controlling life to transforming yourself. If you make yourself into a joyful, balanced, conscious being, then no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it with grace. This is not just philosophy, it's deeply practical. Imagine going through a challenging day, but your mind stays clear, your body feels light, your emotions are stable. Suddenly the same situation that would have crushed you last year feels manageable. That is the power of inner mastery. And this is what Sadhguru's warning is really about. Stop outsourcing your well-being. Stop living on autopilot. Stop being a slave to compulsions. Stop handing over your inner peace to the world. Because if you don't stop, life will keep turning up the volume of your suffering until you have no choice but to listen. He often says pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is a physical signal. It helps you know something is wrong, it keeps you alive. But suffering is psychological. It is the endless replay of pain in your memory, the constant anticipation of pain in the future. This is what we can stop. We can't always avoid pain, but we can choose not to turn it into a lifelong identity. The question is, are you willing to take responsibility for your inner state? Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that has ever gone wrong. It means recognizing that your inner experience is in your hands. If you stay asleep to this truth, life will keep shaking you harder until you wake up. But if you wake up now, if you choose awareness now, your suffering can end, right here, right now. And this is where the real work begins, turning awareness into transformation. Sadhguru often says, awareness is the first step, but action is what sets you free. It's one thing to realize you are living compulsively, it's another to start dismantling those compulsions one by one. The good news is you don't need to wait for some perfect future moment to begin. You can start right here, in this very breath. The first practice he suggests is simply to pause. Take a single conscious breath and notice, right now, am I acting out of choice, or out of habit? When you begin to ask this question throughout the day, you break the spell of automatic living. For example, you feel anger rising. Before you explode, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, is this reaction helping me? Just that moment of reflection creates a gap wide enough to choose a different response. That gap is the beginning of freedom. Sadhguru emphasizes that you must also care for the body, because a compulsive body creates a compulsive mind. If your stomach is always heavy, if your system is toxic, if you are constantly tired, how will you find the energy to be conscious? He recommends light but nourishing food, regular movement, and enough stillness to let the body reset. Even spending just 10 minutes a day sitting quietly, eyes closed, simply watching your breath, can shift the chemistry of your body from restlessness to ease. And then there is the mind. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. If you let it run like an untamed horse, it will drag you through endless suffering. But if you train it, it can carry you beyond fear and anxiety. Sadhguru often gives a simple yet profound practice. Spend a few minutes each day focusing on something you find truly beautiful, without judgment, without distraction, just full attention. It could be a flower, the sky, even your own breath. This simple act of focused awareness sharpens the mind and helps you gain mastery over where it goes. When it comes to emotions, he advises not to suppress them but to understand them. If anger arises, watch it. If sadness arises, sit with it. Most people try to run from unpleasant emotions or drown in them, but both approaches keep the cycle alive. If you can observe your emotions like waves passing through you, without labeling them good or bad, you break their grip. Slowly, you start to realize you are not the storm, you are the sky in which the storm comes and goes. And then comes the most powerful step, aligning yourself with what Sadhguru calls the inner engineering of life. This means becoming deeply conscious of the way you think, speak, and act, so that everything you do is moving you toward a more joyful, balanced state. If you do something that leaves you feeling more agitated, you stop doing it. If something brings you peace and clarity, you do more of it. In this way, your life stops being accidental and starts being intentional. He warns that if you ignore this process, life will not let you rest. Unconsciousness creates friction, and friction creates suffering. You will find yourself in the same arguments, the same heartbreaks, the same financial struggles, until you realize the common factor is you. This realization can feel uncomfortable, but it is the most empowering truth you will ever discover. Because once you see that you are the source, you can also become the solution. And this is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming conscious. If you catch yourself repeating an old pattern, don't judge yourself. Smile, take a deep breath, and choose again. Every moment is fresh. Every moment gives you another chance to rewrite the script. Over time, these small moments of awareness compound into a life that feels lighter, freer, more aligned. Sadguru says that when you stop fighting with life and start flowing with it, even suffering can become a teacher. Pain still comes, yes, but instead of turning it into resentment, you let it open you. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you ask, "What is life trying to show me?" This simple shift transforms pain from punishment into growth. He also warns about the cost of postponement. Many people say, "I'll work on myself later, when things calm down, when I'm less busy, when I have more time." But life doesn't wait. The longer you delay, the louder life has to shout to get your attention. A small irritation ignored today can grow into a major crisis tomorrow. If you want to end suffering, you must be willing to take responsibility right now. And there is something deeply hopeful in this. Because no matter how tangled your past has been, no matter how much pain you have gone through, you are not doomed to repeat it forever. The moment you become aware, you break the cycle. Your past does not have to be your future. Sadguru often says that the most beautiful thing about being human is that we can choose. Unlike any other creature, we can rise above instinct, above habit, above compulsion. We can redesign our life from the inside out. But we must choose to do so consciously. If we don't, we suffer, not because life is cruel, but because life simply mirrors our unconsciousness back to us. And when you truly stop doing the things that create suffering, when you stop living unconsciously, stop handing over your mind and emotions to outside forces, stop running from yourself, you discover something extraordinary. You discover that joy was never missing. It was simply buried under layers of unconscious living. When those layers fall away, what's left is not just peace but a vibrant, alive, unshakable sense of being. At that point, life no longer feels like a problem to be solved. It becomes a gift to be experienced. You wake up in the morning not with dread but with gratitude. You move through your day not as a victim but as a conscious creator. And even when challenges come, you meet them with clarity instead of chaos. This is the freedom Sadguru is pointing to. This is what he means when he warns, "Stop doing this, or suffer." He is not threatening you, he is offering you the keys to liberation. Because ultimately, this is not about avoiding suffering, it's about going beyond it. It's about living so consciously, so fully, that suffering no longer has a grip on you. And when that happens, your life stops being a cycle of repeating pain and becomes a journey of expanding joy.